Welcome to the Railway Village Museum in Boothbay, Maine. Visit our antique automobile museum and other exhibits, including the model railroad. Go to the website for all our events at railwayvillage.org.
Welcome to Chasing Time. I'm Tim Lewis, and today I'm chasing time at the Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens in Boothbay, Maine. And my guests today are Jen McKane, VP Philanthropy and Marketing, and Brent McHale, Gardens Aglow Program Manager. Welcome to my show.
Thanks,
Jen
it's great to be here.
Thank you.
So, Jen, I thought I'd start with you. Can you describe Gardens Aglow, its history, and different themes and stages over the years?
Wow, that's a big question, but I'd be happy to. We started Gardens Aglow back in 2015, and when we thought about doing it, we were really looking for a way to bring people to the gardens in the shoulder season. So typically we'll close in the middle of the fall, and we were looking for ways to bring people down the peninsula through the holidays. And our executive director at the time had just made a trip to Massachusetts to a garden there, and they had a winter light show. And so he had the brilliant idea that we would give it a try. And our board of directors was a little bit hesitant that first year because it's Maine at the end of a peninsula in the winter, and they were pretty sure nobody was going to come. So they gave us a small sum of money to get some lights to put them up, and the first year 36,000 people came. And so it was a complete success, and now we see over 100,000 people every single year for Gardens Aglow. It's been so much fun. The gardens over time, since we first started it, have added a couple of buildings. Our original visitor center was where we hosted those 36,000 the first year, and we've had a number of different themes. This year is my favorite by far, Nature in Motion. It's the incorporation of what we do here through the summer, so all of the critters in the gardens and the flowers in the gardens and the light show. So it's been a lot of fun.
I came the first year you had the Gardens Aglow.
Yeah.
And I actually came the first year the Botanical Gardens opened. And what year was that?
That was 2007. Well, that was the year we opened to the public, but it was actually incorporated back in 1991. And so there were walking trails here before then, which a lot of the locals remember using.
I did that too.
Yeah.
Say, over the 11 years, how many visitors have come through for Gardens Aglow?
This year, we will hit 1 million individual visitors, over those years. So it's pretty incredible.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And I also see you were recognized in the USA 10 Best Poll for Holiday Lights. That's quite an honor.
Yeah, for the past few years, we've been acknowledged there. So they choose 20 light shows from all over the country, and Gardens Aglow has made it for at least the last 7 or 8.
Wow.
And so that's a public vote. Anybody can vote, and we encourage all of our staff and our volunteers in the local community to vote every day. I'm not sure the highest we finished might have been 2nd, but still out of, we're competing against gardens in big urban areas, Philadelphia and in the South, and so it's an honor to be included.
I should say.
Yeah.
Jen, is the Gardens Aglow, is that the largest holiday light show in New England?
Well, we don't actually like to, depends on how you're quantifying largest. We are really focused on making it unique and making it the most unique experience in terms of a light show. So you could go to a lot of light shows that cover either a lot of ground or have 1 million lights, but they won't give you the same experience that you'll get here. We're really trying to create magic and wonder and all of those things with the light show, and it's also completely immersive. So once you walk across the Hafetz Wetland Bridge, you know that you're part of something, and that's a little different from the other light shows.
And it's a natural setting.
Right.
You got the ledges and the trees and bushes, and it's really first class.
Well, thank you.
It really is.
Thank you. And we're trying to incorporate all of the parts of nature to those ledges. So you'll see up on the ledge this year is the fox, And it's a little bit of a scavenger hunt for families and kids when they get here, because it is different every single year, always something new to see.
It is.
Yeah.
And it's been a boost for the tourism here in Boothbay region too.
Yeah.
My God, the restaurants stay open later, and the inns and the gift shops, and so that's a plus.
It has been.
It's a win-win.
If you'll remember, we used to close down on the peninsula in, the middle of October or so. And now everybody tries to stay open through January. The Chamber of Commerce is really active, and they have really dove into Boothbay Lights, which is Boothbay and Boothbay Harbor's own extension of Gardens Aglow. Cafes and restaurants are all on board, and the hotels are busy. And it's fun. And this year, especially, you drive away from Gardens Aglow and down the peninsula, and there's flowers, that were from the gardens that we've incorporated down there, and everybody's getting on board. And I heard some great radio advertisements that the Chamber is working on, which includes all the shops downtown as well as Gardens Aglow. So it's a real community effort.
It is. It really extended the tourist season.
Yes.
Where do you find visitors, patrons? Are they mostly New England or Maine or?
Yeah, it's mostly Maine and New England. We do see people that travel from all over the country, though. I mean, all 50 states are represented during Gardens Aglow. They come from Texas, and I remember very clearly one day coming downstairs, and there was a woman standing at our front door here, and they had driven from New Jersey that day, and we weren't open.
Wow.
But that's okay. They stayed over, and they came back the next day. But people come from all over the country, and from all over the world, really.
Wow. Well, that speaks well for the gardens. So, Brent, I thought we'd bring you into the discussion here.
Yeah.
Now, when do you start planning all these different decorations and lights? That must be a process.
Yeah, at this point it's almost year round. So, the mind's already spinning ideas for next year. But so we kind of work on a theme early winter. So we'll start planning that in the next couple months. And then usually by May, we have a bigger picture design kind of in place. And then our summer season starts. So we're really focusing on that. And then come August, September, we'll really start implementing that design. So start putting those lights up in September, and it takes about 10 weeks.
Now, where is your experience with holiday lighting?
Yeah, so I have always had a passion for lights, putting lights up in my parents' house, helping different people in the community and stuff. And then I came to the gardens back in 2019 and worked the show for a couple of years in the horticulture department, and that gave me a real hands-on experience of kind of how we do it here, and just the scale that we do it here is unlike none other place that I've been before.
Now, the lights that are attached to the trees and the bushes, how do they hold together? I'm sure you don't apply nails or tacks.
No, we generally try to avoid that as much as possible. So we wrap the lights as tight as we can so that they don't kind of slip. And all the newer lights, we kind of stretch those ones out a little bit so that they aren't kind of stretching out in the gardens and on the trees and stuff. And then the net lights are great. We can put those over stone walls and ledges and shrubs, and kind of just illuminates those really nicely. Yeah, just lots of wrapping. Our evergreens are really nice. We kind of just weave the lights in and out of those ones and give it that kind of fairy lighting effect, as we call it.
How many LED lights?
We're still at 750,000.
Wow.
We've been holding that number steady. We have a little bit of breakage here and there, so we're adding lights, but kind of swapping out for more just sustainable options. So less strands of lights on trees, more things we can kind of stick into the ground or kind of set into place. More spotlights, kind of moving in that direction.
Now, the LED lights, are they more efficient?
Oh yes, yep, way more efficient. So I think each strand only uses maybe 1.5 watts of energy, and if you put all the strands end to end, we figured out it's about 60 miles. So out here to Portland, give or take.
Wow.
So yeah.
Now, Jen, tell me when the lights went off here. What was that story?
Yes. So I'm going to guess it was somewhere around
18.
18, is that right?
Yeah.
And we had just gotten started for the evening. So Gardens Aglow opens at 4 o'clock. We had a line all the way out the door. It was about 4:30 and just starting to get dark, and suddenly all the lights went out. And there had been a car accident on Barter's Island Road, which is the road that brings everybody to the gardens, which had taken out a telephone pole and therefore the electricity. And we didn't have generators hooked up at that point in time. We do now, so don't worry. But it took a lot. We couldn't let people leave the gardens because the road was blocked, so we had people wait in their cars. Everybody got a ticket for another night. But yeah, that was the night the lights went out that nobody will ever forget. And everybody that was here always brings it up when they come through the desk.
So the patrons were very acceptable to that then? No.
There was a little, I mean,
Little
for the
rumble.
most part, they knew there was nothing that we
Yeah.
could do.
Yeah.
It was totally out of our control. But I think they might have expected that we had generators, but not then. So, like I said, we do now.
So the theme this year, nature in motion. Can you describe that?
I think one of the things that is interesting when people come to Gardens Aglow is they'll ask us, what do you do here in the summer? And so a lot of the visitors that are coming to Gardens Aglow don't really understand what a botanical garden is, and we'd really want them to feel like when they're here, they're also experiencing nature and plants and animals and wildlife. And so nature in motion is a way to express all of the things that you might see here during the regular season, to be immersed in them, but also to integrate what our mission is with our Garden Lights show. Would you add to that?
Yeah, and then part of that with the lights this year, we have some kind of literal examples of nature in motion. So we have a really cool light projection that shows kind of a vernal pool appearing in the spring and all the amphibians migrating to it and going through their life cycle, and then it kind of disappearing as they do kind of midsummer. And then we have some more other examples, just kind of the Maine woods, and have some signage about like moose migration and hummingbirds and other things. So we've added a lot of interpretive signs this year, which I'm really, really excited about, and have loved seeing people read just to connect them to the different animals and the different ways that nature moves and migrates and stuff.
Now you have a new addition here, Portal out of Portland. Can you tell us about
Portals
that?
of Portland. That's a new collaboration this year. So we've been working with them. They helped us with the soundscape. So we have a couple new soundscapes out in the gardens to mimic some of our natural areas such as the ocean and the Maine woods. And then they've also done some light projection. So that one that I was talking about over kind of by Slater Forest Pond, which is almost a vernal pool, or used to be a vernal pool. And then they've created some really cool 3D printed salamanders out of like a bioplastic over in the Lerner Garden.
And they're new this year, aren't they? That company?
Yes. Yep, that's a new collaboration for us. They've been around for a little bit, but really excited to work with them and showcase some of their work.
So some of the patrons that come, what impression do you want them to leave the gardens with? What do you think? What would you like to have them say?
Well, I want them to talk about what a great experience, what a joyful experience it was. The thing that I love the most about Gardens Aglow is that you have grandparents, parents, and kids. This is something that every single person is going to enjoy when they're here. And so I want them to come away with a little bit of knowledge about what we actually do during the summer here at the gardens and how important that is, but also just to have this terrific experience that they can make a tradition. And so many people do make this an annual tradition. You know, the day after Thanksgiving is always sold out right away because families are home for Thanksgiving and they come to the gardens the next day. Also just the beauty and fun. You know, there's very few things that you can do this time of year where it's really accessible for everyone. Not everybody can go skiing, not everyone wants to go snowmobiling or something like that, but everybody can enjoy this together. So
All ages.
All ages, yeah.
And you have some handicap electric bikes and
We have
wheelchairs.
mobility scooters and
Yeah.
wheelchairs, which are available on a first come, first served basis, but they're free. And we usually have some available. But yeah, so you could just hop on one of those and go if you can't walk for an hour out there.
Yeah, that's true.
And you can see almost everything.
And do you find patrons that come in the summer tend to come back for the Gardens Aglow?
I think we're finding that more and more. Yeah, I talked to the other night, on Saturday night, we were really busy and I was asking people if it was their first time.
Yep.
And I was really surprised that a lot of the people that were coming through, which is a change for us, were members who were coming to Gardens Aglow for the first time or visited this summer and then are coming to Gardens Aglow for the first time. And that is a bit of a shift because it used to be they would come to Gardens Aglow and then come back in the summer. So that's great news. But yes, a lot of people will come and find us and then come back for this.
So that sets a good impression when they see
Yeah, and
either
then
in
they-
the summer or the winter.
we want them to be members, so we'll encourage them to sign up for membership after that, and then once they're members, maybe they'll be volunteers. So it's a nice continuum of getting people engaged.
What is your membership total?
Right now, I think we're at about 8,600 member households. So that means there may be 2 people on a membership, probably about 15,000 individual members of the gardens. Yeah.
Now, we'll stray a little bit. Can you describe any of the new additions that are coming to the gardens?
Sure. We have been working since the beginning of the garden's existence on fulfilling our mission. And one of the things that we want to do is to be able to have a plant science program here at the gardens. And so we're thrilled that we were able to break ground on our horticulture and plant science center about 2 months ago. It's happening up at the top of our parking lot area. And that will give our horticulture team a place to fulfill their work and storage, all of the things that they need, but there's also laboratories and all of the work there that our plant science team will need to have things like a seed bank. So it's just really important work, and it's the 3rd pillar of our mission. So it's thrilling for us, and we're hoping we'll be moving in there sometime in the March or April 2027.
Now that won't be open to the public, is that right?
No, it would be available for people who are doing graduate student work or internships. There will be some behind the scenes type available, tours and those sorts of things. But no, it won't be a place that every visitor will go to.
I got you.
Yeah.
So we're talking about lights. I'm always curious, is there one big switch to turn everything on?
Not quite. Our campus has grown a lot over the years, so we keep kind of adding garden spaces and new areas. So we have a lot of different kind of panels, sub-power panels all over the place. So not one big switch, but there is kind of certain sections that are partitioned out from a power perspective.
But didn't you mention something at one
Well,
time
one
you had
year,
a switch
yes.
that turned everything on?
One year we had a big switch. One of our sponsors wanted to have that magnificent moment where you flip the switch and everything turns on. And so at these various places where everything comes together, we had one of our team members there. And at an exact moment, everybody plugged in the lights at the same time, and we flipped the switch, and it all came on. And it was pretty magical. But that's not something that we've replicated, but it was fun.
So that's something you might not do again then.
We'll see.
Well, we'll see if somebody wants to sponsor us at that level again. It took a whole team effort.
I should say, wow. Wow, that's a lot of lights to turn on at once. So
Yes.
Yeah, thank goodness it worked.
yeah. So what about weather conditions in the winter? Have there been any snowstorms that have closed you down?
Not in the last year. We've been really fortunate, knock on wood. We do close when it's too dangerous here locally for people and for our staff, our team members to come in. It generally hasn't started snowing at that level until January or February, but there is ice and other freezing rain conditions. So occasionally, and then we do have a team of shovelers who is our staff who come in to help clean up, because that's a big undertaking because every path has to be shoveled. But we would close, but we try not to.
What about walking in the gardens if it's icy? What type of salt or sand do you put down? Or how do you keep them safe?
Yeah, we have a wonderful facilities team. They proactively monitor that, and we have a couple different products that we put down, some that are more plant safe that we put within the gardens, and some other more salt stuff out in the parking lots. But yeah, they're constantly monitoring that throughout the night, and we have volunteers out there also monitoring the ground, so lots of eyes out there keeping things safe for people.
So I mentioned about installing the lights. What about when you take them down? What's that process like?
Yeah, we start basically the day after we close. We start taking them down as quick as we can. Weather is so unpredictable at this point with the winters and stuff. So yeah, as long as the ground's workable, we're able to get around. We're pulling up the cords, all the lights, and they all kind of come inside into a large pile. And then we spend about 8 weeks getting all those bundled, tested, sorted, counted, put away, We have a pretty good system now.
What do you roll those lights? Is it like a roll?
We hand bundle them. So
Wow.
we hand bundle about 10,000 strands,
Gee.
and then thousands of extension cords.
And how many people
Yeah,
are
it
working
takes-
on that to get it going?
Yeah, to put the light show up, it takes
Yeah.
about 100 people, give or take about 3 months. And there's some people dedicated full-time, 40 hours a week to stringing lights, some people giving a couple days a week, and then we have some really big pushes. We have 4 days where the entire staff comes out. And those days are pretty magical. Just everyone working together, and what we get done on those days is incredible.
Wow. That's a big project.
Those are some big project days, but so worth it.
Jen, any interesting stories here at the Gardens? that stand
Yes,
out?
there are.
Are
The one thing that is amazing is our volunteers. So on any given day after Gardens Aglow, come on a January or February afternoon, and the hallways here are full of our volunteers doing the lights. They are bundling them, testing them. It is really incredible. We couldn't do it without our volunteers, and we have over 200 active volunteers.
Wow.
And it's just a great community. You know, they're so much fun to be with, but also they just give us so much. I think something that's really fun, and this actually just happened on Saturday night, is a lot of people really get into the holiday spirit, and they'll come dressed in so many different types of costumes and attire. And Saturday night, I was working the front desk, and we had the Grinch come through, which is pretty typical. We see him a few times a year. But then Buddy the Elf came, and I'm not sure if you're familiar with Buddy the Elf, but it's a great movie called Elf. And he was in full character, and twirling around here in the lobby and just taking it all in, and it's so much fun. Where can you go? And things like that are happening, and the kids are completely enamored by, they know who Buddy is, and he's here. So it's just there's so many fun things. It's a great thing to do during the holiday season, and just a really positive thing to do with family and friends.
Yeah. Santa, he comes, right?
We've seen him come through, yes.
Yep.
Not on a regular basis, but a lot of people are very creative with what they wear. We also have people who wear their fairy wings on Fridays, which is great. So
it's theme oriented.
it can be whatever you want.
Yeah. And your restaurant is very popular in the summer and also during the Gardens Aglow.
Yeah, it's open every night that we're open for Gardens Aglow, and they have warm food and beverages. Our snack shack is also open, so we have food and beverages and snacks in there. We also have food vendors in the gardens who are dishing up things like blueberry cobbler and popcorn and some chowders. So it's really, if anything that you want, you can get that when you come to Gardens Aglow.
The new restaurant, though, is really nice. I've been to it several times this past summer, and it really works out nicely when you look back at the old method of waiting on the tables. But this is quite smooth.
Yeah, we realized quickly that we would never be able to accommodate everyone with traditional sit-down service because on a typical day in the summer, there's a couple thousand people that come to the gardens. And we can't do table service for each of them. So what we have right now is a hotline or a grab and go, and you can get what you want and then go get a table and sit down and enjoy it. So it's kind of a hybrid, but the food is delicious, and it's great for the time frame that you have to be here. So it's working out great.
I see the gift shop is all decked out for the holidays here.
Yeah.
It's nice. You have nice things in there too. Different or unique.
It's one of my favorite places in the whole world. Yes, everybody should go to Garden Shop when they come. It's got so many things from a lot of local vendors, Maine vendors, different things that you're not going to see in there, and it's just a wonderful experience once you get in there. I used to joke with the Garden Shop director that I want to sleep in there because it's just so cozy and comfortable and wonderful.
Absolutely, yeah. Now, the artists that you've got showing here during the Gardens Aglow, can you explain that to me?
Yeah, so we have a couple different artists showing different works in the cafe, some sculptural stuff, some different paintings, some carved things as well. So yeah, definitely go and check those out in the cafe. And then outdoors, I have a sculptor, Dan Dowd, who has some kind of 3D stainless steel pine cones that are out on the Great Lawn to kind of help get that Maine woods feel across. So those are fun. And yeah, year over year, been trying to add more sculpture artists to Aglow, outside, indoors, outdoors. And then Caroline has been doing some really awesome work getting some
And this
indoor.
theme of nature in motion is kind of set with the artist too, right?
Yes, yeah, this year we carried that throughout kind of everything in the garden shop, in the artworks in the cafe, and then all throughout the show itself, yes.
Now, Jen, for people to buy tickets and get information about Gardens Aglow, can you tell us the details on that?
I can, yeah. You'll go to our website, which is gardensaglow.org, and tickets are available there. They do go fast, so you'll want to get online and get your tickets ahead of time. We're open through January 3rd. It is select nights, so make sure you look at your calendar and choose your tickets, but that's where you'd go to get them. And we start the show at 4 o'clock. It's open till 9 on the nights that we're open.
So you can't come to the gardens and buy a ticket. It's reservations only, right?
Right, right. We want you to get your tickets online ahead of time because we might sell out, and we're limited because of the parking that we have. So if we don't have tickets available, it's because we really don't have a place for you to park, so you shouldn't come down. We do have a shuttle that's running from downtown Booth Bay Harbor, and it's running Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's great, and if you ride on the shuttle and park downtown, not only do you get to visit the shops and eat downtown, we'll give you a free cup of hot chocolate when you get here. So it's a good incentive to ride the shuttle, but it definitely makes sense to get your tickets ahead of time so you don't get here and we're sold out.
I think that hot chocolate might convince me on the shuttle, so
And you can skip the line too.
you could skip the line, yeah.
Yeah.
That's true, isn't it?
Yep. And the shuttles have been full. This weekend they were very full going back and forth. So it's a school bus. It's very recognizable.
And is that just Friday and Saturday nights?
And Sunday.
And Sunday?
Yep.
But not on Thursday?
Not on Thursdays.
Yeah.
Yep.
Do you find Thursday, is that a quieter night usually, or?
Usually, but it depends on whether we're during school vacation week. Thursdays will, be busy, so it just depends on what week we're in. But in the beginning of the season, typically Thursdays are a little bit less busy just because kids are still in school and people are still working.
So then the Friday and Saturday would be nights that would be extra busy then?
Yes, yes.
So how does it look now for the schedule? Are you sold out nights now? Or?
There's some nights that are sold out, mostly Saturday nights. The day after Thanksgiving, like I said, I think we're sold out, but you can go online and look and you can see how many tickets are available. Usually the earlier time slots sell out more quickly than the later time slots, so if you can come a little bit later, you're more likely to be able to get tickets. And right now, Fridays and Saturdays are definitely the busiest, so if you want a little bit quieter overnight, you might try a Thursday or a Sunday.
I see, yeah. Well, it's a plus, like we were saying. It's just a big draw for the Booth Bay region. I mean, you're well known all over New England, I think, all over the country.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. We never could have imagined, like with so many things, that we would have 100,000 people coming down the peninsula in the middle of winter. And I mean, you've seen it because you live here. When you look at Route 27, it's just a steady, even coming through Wiscasset or coming from the opposite direction. Friday and Saturday is a steady stream of cars, and you know where they're going. So, yeah, it is remarkable, and I mean, it's also a testament to people wanting something like this to be able to do when it's dark and cold, and we're able to provide that. And our light show is just the best. So.
What do you think's in the future for Gardens Aglow, Brent? What do you see down the road?
Yeah, we're gonna keep getting inspired by nature and everything, all the beauty that we have around us. So keep creating those kind of unique, cool sculptures. You might have saw this year we have some new shelf mushrooms, which have been a big hit. Those are so unique, so us. So I think just looking into things like that are just kind of recognizable and making those our own, as well as leaning into some more technology, working with some different groups and stuff who have some expertise in that. So like more light projection and stuff like that, and working with more sculptors around. And so, yeah, so we can have some more.
The addition of sound, do you think, is that a plus?
Yeah, I think it's been a big hit this year, and we've had music in the past, but I've really wanted something that was more like instrumental, more like nature-based soundscape, so that's what we've started working with this year, and I think, we've learned a little bit of how that's going, so I think next year we're going to improve on that, and really the idea is to like immerse you in these light places that we're creating. So whether it's like the ocean or the forest or the wetlands, or like the different fireflies that are kind of flying all around you.
Yeah. Jim, what do you think is in the future for the gardens the next 10 years or so? What do you think?
We have so many plans. We're still in the process of fulfilling our master plan. We dream someday that we'll have a glass house here at the gardens. That's definitely down the road a little bit. We have some significant fundraising to do, but also planning to do for that. But that would be the fulfillment of what the original founders dreamt for the gardens.
That would be year-round?
And then we would be a year-round destination. Wow. It would be a place where school kids can come all winter long and enjoy an indoor garden space. And it's just terrific because it's something that was imagined, 25, 30 years ago that's actually coming to fruition. But that's where I hope and wish that we'll be a decade from now, is we'll have our glass house open and we'll be a full-time year-round destination, but also really doing the work of the plant conservation work for the state of Maine and for New England. It's part of our mission and such an important part of it. And so those two things, I think, are big dreams for the gardens.
Where would that be set in the gardens, the Glass Conservatory? What?
Sort
location?
of as you cross the Hayfitz Wetland Bridge on the other side there. So right now our butterfly house is there, so sort of over in that area.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Say, is there anything I forgot? Would you like to add anything to the interview?
I guess some cool places people definitely should check out. Down by Lilia, the Baby Troll, there's some really cool firefly lights this year. And that's really fun and just a much different kind of experience from the rest of Gardens Aglow. This year we try to give some kind of pauses of light, so there's kind of like your eyes can have a rest. You kind of come into these really cool spaces, and then of course the tunnel is a great photo op.
Oh, that's really neat. Yeah.
And the children's garden, just kind of sea of lights, just kind of keeps going. It was fun.
Jen, is there anything you'd like to add? Or?
No, just come and experience the magic and tell your friends. Get your tickets online ahead of time, really early. All of the things we've talked about, but it's been great talking to you.
Nice talking to you. I'd like to have a special thank you to Jen and Brent for taking the time to talk with us, and for the Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens allowing us to film here. It's been great. And I think Gardens Aglow is a great venue and a real gem for the state of Maine. And I think in the next probably 5 decades, it'll still be going. So.
Oh, yes.
So I always like to close on a positive high, and I think this one fits the setting pretty good. The glow of Christmas lights is a smile of the holiday season. I'm Tim Lewis, your host of Chasing Time and a true Boothbay Harbor native, signing off from the Coastal Maine Botanical Gardens in Boothbay, Maine. Till we meet again, my friends, stay forever young.
Welcome to the Railway Village Museum in Boothbay, Maine. Visit our antique automobile museum and other exhibits, including the model railroad. Go to the website for all our events at railwayvillage.org.